Hello friends, how are you today? We have got a fun project today that hopefully all of you have everything you need to do right there at home. We're going to do some Lego prints. Going to make some designs and have some fun with that. So you just need a couple of Legos or duplos. I'm a grandma now, so I have a lot of duplos on hand because a couple of my grandbabies are pretty young, but you can use regular Legos too. I'm Anna Walker. Sorry, we're jumping ahead. Usually, also known as FELTit, and you usually see me working with felt and fiber and creating things that you can have around your house, that you can wear, that you can hang up. But for the next several weeks, I'm going to be here with you every day, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. and we're going to have an internet create date, okay? So today's art lesson with Anna, as I said, we're going to do some Lego printing, and I already have the big lamp on, so it's kind of hard to, there we go. So we're going to do some Lego printing, and it's just a few simple things. So now I'm going to move the camera down and we're going to get started. Okay, so I have some paper and some cardstock here. I have over here a dish of water that's got a little bit of water in it, and it's got a paper towel in the bottom. That's going to be my cleaning area. I've also got a towel underneath it so I can dry the Legos if I want to change colors on those. Over here I have a dish that's got a wet paper towel on the bottom, and then it's got a damp sponge. This is going to be our paint palette, and you can see I've got two of the colors I'm going to use on it already, and I'll show you how we add the colors to that. The reason this is damp is so, one, it's easier to clean up afterwards, but two, so that we can sort of spread that color out a little bit so that it's not quite as thick and glumpy. That's a new word, glumpy. So all I did was I just pounced on some acrylic color, and just stick to a couple of colors, 2 or 3 colors, whatever will fit on your sponge. And that way, you've got everything right there. The paint palette stays relatively small, and there's only one thing to clean up afterward, okay? So I've got some duplos here. If you're worried about your fingers getting dirty, have an extra duplo or an extra Lego that you can use as a handle. So I can take my Lego and I can have it in all 3 colors if I want, and then I can stamp and print some designs on my paper. When I'm done with those colors, I just bring it over here and I sort of scrub it out a little bit, and then I let it get nice and dried on the old towel, and then I'm ready to go with the next one. And I can take off my handle Duplo or Lego and move it on to the next one. Now we can use this on either side, and I really like doing the holes here. And let's see what kind of a design we can get. And that's just how simple it is. We can make whatever design our little heart desires, and we can keep going as long as we want. Okay, I'm going to get another piece of paper, and I'm going to show you a nice easy way to make a balanced design, because sometimes balanced designs can be tough. So I'm going to put this off to the side, and I'm going to get another piece of paper here. All right, so we've talked about this a little bit before in different projects that we've done. Let's slide that back just a bit. To do a balanced design, all we really need to do is think about the clock. Okay, so 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock. That's the best way to start out. And so I'm going to start with my dots here, and we're going to go 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. And then I'm going to get some more paint on here. You can blend the paints with the different colors that you have here. That's what makes a sponge a really nice palette, because you can take and you can move them to different areas. And then we have 6 o'clock and we have 3 o'clock. You want to make sure that you don't rub off all of the color. Let's do that again. There we go. Okay, and now I'm going to come in, and I could have cleaned this off in between, but I didn't want to. And we're going to come in between each of these, and that'll give us a nice balanced design. Sometimes we want random, sometimes we want balanced. And if you start to lose the color, you can always take and add a little bit more color on top. That's not a problem, okay? And I've got my handle just ready to flip out, and this time I want to use the bottom. And I'm just going to get the edges really good here. And let's see if we can do one in the middle there. Ooh, I like that. If you know me, you know I like purple. And see, we're just doing that same thing and doing that random, that pattern design so that we've got a nice balanced design. I'm going to go over these two again. Just line it up, press it down, line it up, and press it down. I am liking this design. So depending on the shape of your Legos, you can get different designs going here. And I'm going to pop this off, and I'm going to turn it over on the other side because I want to get some dots, but I need a little bit more of this pinky color because that's the color that I want to use. So I'm just going to splotch some more on and just use the paint tube, sort of rub it around in that area. Make sure you keep your tubes nice and tightly closed, otherwise they'll dry up. And I want to use just one side. Well, I'm going to try and use just one side. I can wipe that off. All right, so I've got one side here. And I'm going to bring it in here. Ooh, very nice. And see, we're just getting a new pattern there. And I want to put this in between each of our groups of Legos. Make sure that I keep this nice and tight. If it gets a little bit on the edges that we don't want, we just wipe it off on our old towel and the paper towel. And then we keep going with our design. So we can build this design any way we want to because we've got all of the materials and we have our plan ready to go. And I'm going to clean this off again. So let's say that we've got this design done. What can we do with it? Well, I like the design just for hanging up. I mean, I'm thinking that this would be a really cool design to hang up, but let's look at that for a second. So let's say we like this design right here. And I'm just going to cut it out. I'm going to cut it out sort of rough. Remember, my scissors hand stays still and my non-scissor hand moves the paper around. Now we're not having to stay in lines because we don't have any lines there, right? So let's say I've got this design. What am I going to do with it? Well, let's imagine that there's a line going all the way around the design. And let's just take our scissors and just sort of wrap that design all the way around. And remember, our non-scissor hand is moving the paper, so our scissor hand stays pretty still. And we can just wrap it around. This would be a really cool way to do snowflakes in the winter time. Although I'm not sure what color paint you would use for snowflakes. I'm going to imagine that these are flower designs since it's springtime. And we can take our designs and we can create something with them. They could be just paintings. That is not a problem at all. Sometimes you want to do something special with them. And so see, we've got our design all the way around, and we could put this on a popsicle stick maybe, or on a chenille stem or a pipe cleaner. We could even just hang it like this and take our hole punch inside one of the holes. We could punch a hole in it, and then we could have it hanging in the window or on the doorknob. So there's all kinds of fun stuff that you can create with these. I just want you to have fun today, creating as many designs as you can and figuring out how you want to use those designs. There's nothing really technical about this at all. You can, if you want, after you've got the design made. I'm just grabbing one of my paintbrushes that's over here. If you wanted to, you could fill in the holes. So you could take and use your palette, and you could fill in some areas if you wanted to, just by adding a little bit of color there. I like the idea of just pulling out different pieces of the design to color them. And you see it gets kind of a watercolor effect when you're picking up the paint with the brush from the sponge, because sponge is a little bit wet, and so it sort of blends out and makes the color just sort of lighten up a little bit. We've got another triangle here. And another tiny one right here. Let's see if we can get that one. There we go. I'm liking this. So have fun painting and making your shapes with your Legos, and then taking and figuring out what you want to do extra with them. Do you want to cut them out and make ornaments that look like flowers? Do you want to continue with that idea of doing the flowers and paint them in the in-between like we're doing with this large one here? And then we could take, oh, let's see, let me get this wet. We could take a lot of color on here. And we could take and we could do little swirls to sort of add to that flower kind of design, using our pattern as our guide. I like swirls. I use swirls a lot when I'm working. It's because they're easy. You just start in one spot and you just go back and forth and back and forth. And it makes it very easy to add to a design. If you were doing this in yellows, it would look like a sun almost. But see how quickly that becomes a beautiful piece of art. I love that. We've got our nice moist paper towel here that we can clean things out with, and then we can pick up some more paint, and maybe we're gonna add color inside the dots on these pieces. But it's just about playing with pattern and finding those shapes that you can make with your Legos and making those just turn into something that you had no idea. We could make a flower pattern like this. I could see, if you had a lot of the smaller, the regular size Legos, I could see being able to do things like houses and maybe a robot shape. That would be a really cool thing to make. But you can take a look at the patterns that you make and turn them into something else. And it's all just using our Legos. And using the Legos and the duplos just as a way to build a pattern and to have a starting point for creating. And then it's just your imagination working to finish creating. And I realize I'm missing part of my pattern over here. So I'm going to get my big Lego that was part of our pattern, and I'm going to try and add it where we need to add it. There's one there. And there's one there and one there. But see, we can just add whatever we want to this pattern and continue growing it from there. So I want you to have fun with this. See what kind of designs you can create, and then figure out a way to do something a little bit different with them. Make some ornaments that you can hang up to make you think of flowers blooming, especially My mom lives in Iowa and I live in Kansas, and my flowers have been blooming for a couple of weeks, but hers haven't started to bloom yet. So this would be something fun that I could send to her so that she could have some flower shapes around the house until her flowers start blooming. I'm going to turn the big light off. Well, actually, I'm going to leave that on. I'm just going to turn the camera up. So that's it. Yesterday we had a really long tutorial with our weaving, and you did such a great job. Today, a really quick one, because it's up to you and your imagination where you want to take this and make this painting happen. Tomorrow we have something really fun. We're going to make pom-pom caterpillars. And the reason we're making caterpillars tomorrow is because we're making butterflies on Monday. So I look forward to seeing you for our next art lesson. And until then, if you want to learn something about the felting that I do, you can go to stabthingsintoexistence.com and you can find out all about the felting. So have fun painting today, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.